Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people, because that you know, everybody's going to tune in to hope that Mike Tyson knocks him out.
Right.
They're not tuning in because they think Jake Paul's a great fighter and they want to see him compete.
Jake Paul getting destroyed by Dana White is probably the most satisfying news you've heard since November 15th, especially after that disaster of a fight with Mike Tyson. And let's be real, Dana is the only guy who had the guts to call it exactly what it was from the start. An absolute mismatch that should never have happened in the boxing world.
Buddy, Mike's 58 years old. You know what I mean? And I hate doing this because Mike gets mad at me every time I do this, but Mike shouldn't be fighting.
He's been practically yelling at us that this fight was a total disaster waiting to unfold, but did we listen? Of course not. Why would we? The mere thought of seeing Mike back in the ring had us riding a dopamine high. And now here we are choking down our humble pie, realizing just how wrong we were.
He's actually his age and was actually a boxer and was actually his size. He lost.
But don't worry, because now the fearless UFC boss himself is giving Jake a brutal reality check. And honestly, it's about time our so-called YouTuber turned boxer faced some serious heat.
100%. Fight guys that box for a living and guys that are your age. How about that?
He says he wants to fight Canelo. I'm just saying what he... That's what he
hear you. Then why is he not fighting Canelo?
And the most hilarious thing I heard after this match was that Jake talked about fighting Canelo Alvarez. Holy shit, man, Canelo wouldn't waste 30 seconds on this joker, and why should he? While Canelo fights real contenders, Jake's busy recycling Butterbean's old playbook, facing opponents who are either too old or too irrelevant to matter. In Dana's view, Jake isn't building a boxing career, he's putting on a circus. The Tyson fight, if it happens, won't change that.
He was actually his age and was actually a boxer and was actually his size. He lost.
As for Jake's claims about making massive money, White couldn't resist poking holes. If Paul were the cash cow he pretends to be, Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone under. But hey, why let facts get in the way of a good Instagram flex?
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong. You know, you guys know the whole story about Shark Week, and you know, if you don't, I begged him not to do the Roy Jones fight. You're too old. I love you. I don't want to see you take any more punishment. So I set him up on Shark Week. He got paid good money, and he's like, so he almost flipped out the last day and was ready to kill everybody on the boat because he had to jump in with all these sharks again.
First off, Dana did what few can do. He admitted he was wrong. He had begged Tyson not to fight Roy Jones Jr. years ago, fearing the boxing legend would get hurt. "You're too old, Mike. I don't want to see you take punishment," he said. But Tyson didn't want advice, he wanted sharks. Literally. Dana had set him up on Shark Week to keep him out of the ring. Big mistake. Tyson, mid-shark dive, was ready to strangle everyone on the boat. Apparently, getting tossed in with apex predators wasn't the retirement activity he had in mind. Tyson, almost 60 years old, decides to fight Jake Paul. Dana naturally rolled his eyes at the idea. Tyson, ever the showman, clapped back, "You really think this kid can do anything to me?" Turns out Mike was right. Jake Paul, despite his big talk and big platform, looked like a schoolboy sparring with the principal.
You honestly think the kid's gonna do anything to me? He's not good. He's not gonna me out. He's not gonna do this. And you saw him. He tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on. And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him.
Mike Tyson could barely walk to the ring. He tripped on his way out, needed a knee brace to climb the stairs, and still managed to make Jake Paul look like an amateur. Dana's words were as cutting as Tyson's jabs. Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. Nothing. The guy is 57, and he embarrassed him. Of course, social media had its fair share of opinions. Some called the fight the greatest con job of all time. Dana, dripping with sarcasm, offered his take. What did you expect, a 60-year-old Mike Tyson to go 12 rounds like it's 1988? Or Jake Paul to suddenly become the next Muhammad Ali? Please. The fight, streamed for free on Netflix, became a talking point for fans and critics alike. Dana pointed out the obvious. You stayed home, turned on Netflix, and what? Thought you were about to witness the greatest live sporting event of all time? Give me a break. You got exactly what you signed up for. A 57-year-old icon humiliating an influencer who can't punch his way out of a paper bag.
And that's because Mike gets mad at me every time I do this, but Mike shouldn't be fighting.
I mean, because you look at Jake Paul, he fought Tyron Woodley, slept him. Anderson Silva, I think he fought Nate. Is there, I mean, if he wants to do boxing, why not fight guys that actually box for a living?
According to Dana, Mike shouldn't be fighting. Why? Because Jake Paul, for all his antics, has been out here knocking out MMA retirees like Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, and Nate Diaz. Sure, they're legends, but they're not boxers. And Dana's got a genius suggestion. Maybe Jake should fight actual boxers. You know, people who box for a living. Shocking idea, really. Oh, and how about fighting guys his own age? But no. Jake's out here throwing around names like Canelo Alvarez, which is peak comedy. Dana can't even fathom why Jake would bother or why Canelo would waste his time. Let's face it, Canelo would annihilate Jake in 30 seconds and probably make more money fighting the real opponents without sacrificing his credibility. So, yeah, not happening. For Jake Paul, the fight was supposed to solidify his status as a serious contender. Instead, it exposed him. Dana didn't hold back. The kid's not a boxer. He's a content creator who steps into the ring hoping nobody notices he's out of his depth. Tyson played with him, and he still couldn't land a decent shot. If that's what Jake's calling a fight, then maybe stick to YouTube.
I didn't like that.
And Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money, and I know people are mad you stayed on Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it. You know, this is what Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson shows up.
Dana White chimed in on the whole Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson circus. Apparently, Mike Tyson, almost 60 by the way, decided to step into the ring with the YouTube kid. Dana? He thought Jake would get mauled. Mike? He was all, yeah, no, he's not doing a thing to me. Spoiler alert, he was right. Jake Paul couldn't touch the guy. Sure, Tyson tripped a bit. But hey, he still walked away with a ton of cash while everyone else stayed home whining.
Logan Paul, after the fight, people been coming at him. They felt it was disrespectful of him. Like he was like, Mike, I will kill you! I actually was surprised he said that. I really was. I was like, healthy. Okay, whatever.
Now let's address Logan Paul. After the fight, he got backlash for saying he'd kill Mike Tyson. Bold words, Logan. Real bold. Everyone was surprised, including Dana, who basically shrugged it off like, well, that's Logan for you. Then there's this ulcer thing. Turns out Tyson almost died from it. Yeah, he's out here surviving life-threatening conditions, and people still expect him to perform like he's 25? Makes total sense. Some conspiracy theorists claim the fight was fixed. But wait, there's footage of Tyson hitting pads up before the ulcer looking fast and explosive. Post-ulcer, though, not so much. Apparently, he went from beast mode to barely standing. Shocking, right? Who knew almost dying might impact performance? But sure, let's call it a fix, because why not?
I love Mike Tyson, you know, personally as a friend, and he's one of my favorite athletes of all time. I don't know, let's see what he can go in there and put together a training camp and come in and, you know, I don't like to see guys fighting it.
Dana loves Mike Tyson. He's his buddy, his favorite athlete, his spirit animal, whatever you want to call it. But hey, throwing a 60-year-old Mike into the ring with Jake Paul? Even Dana's not a fan of that geriatric beatdown. A 31-year age gap? Totally fair fight, right? Classic combat sports matchmaking. But wait, let's pivot to Netflix because Dana has thoughts. Apparently, the streaming giant has finally jumped into live sports, and Dana's just baffled it took them this long. Now here's where Dana starts connecting dots no one asked for. See, Reacher is on demand. You can watch it whenever you want. It's magical. But live sports? Oh no. You had to watch that fight live, because God forbid you miss Jake Paul awkwardly jabbing at a guy old enough to get senior discounts.
He had a 31-year age difference during that fight. Just, you guys know what I think of that stuff.
Dana thinks live events are the future, obviously. And as streaming platforms grow bigger and bigger, they'll have no choice but to get into live sports. Bold prediction there, Dana. Truly groundbreaking stuff. And then there's the subtle humble brag, because what's a Dana White interview without one? He casually drops that his own TV deal is coming up, as if we didn't already know he's about to talk to everyone. Netflix, Amazon, maybe even the Weather Channel. If there's a platform out there, Dana's sliding into their inbox. Why? Because live sports, people. He's not about to let anyone forget that he's the mastermind behind making live fights must-see TV.
Canelo can fight real guys and keep his credibility intact and still make that kind of money. You know what I mean? Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people because everybody's going to tune in.
Jake needs this circus. He needs the Tysons of the world, the over-the-hill legends everyone tunes in to watch, hoping they'll knock him out. People aren't buying pay-per-views because they think Jake's a future champ. They just want to see someone shut him up. Dana even compares Jake to Butterbean, remember him? The guy who fought nobodies until the gimmick got old? Same playbook. If Jake ever gets legitimately beaten, Dana predicts the whole act crumbles, and the novelty disappears faster than Jake's boxing credentials. So, here's the deal. Jake Paul is a marketing genius who doesn't want to fight real boxers. Mike Tyson should probably just stay retired, and Dana White? He's just here shaking his head at the absurdity of it all. Classic.
Mike Tyson, people talk to. There's certain people that are just crazy, man.
Well, these people that think that he don't stand a chance against Jake Paul, they're like, this shouldn't even, like, because he's too old. I was like, I think you're crazy.
Well, they're definitely uninformed.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. He is 57 years old. He will be 58 when they fight. He has had a long fighting career. He has been knocked out by massive men like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. You know, he's had a lot of blows. And he's also doing this very unique kind of training with
Joe Rogan, the voice of modern combat sports, didn't hold back when dissecting the spectacle that was Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. On his podcast, Rogan marveled at how surreal it was to witness a 58-year-old Tyson facing off against a YouTuber-turned-boxer. While he acknowledged Jake's youthful energy and evolving skills, Rogan couldn't ignore Tyson's diminished speed and power. Mike still has that head movement, Rogan noted, but the punches? Not what they used to be. In the end, Rogan summed it up. Jake may have won, but it wasn't the unstoppable Mike Tyson fans know and love.